Hola Viajeros, so welcome to my first interview, and today we'll be with someone very special, someone passionate for travel, nature and culture in general. She was born in Portugal, she's currently dialing in from the United Kingdom, London, and here I present you Carina. Carina, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Carina. So Carina, today we'll be discussing what is the risk of hashtag Colombia. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself or why you like traveling so much?
I probably have been traveling since the age of 18. I'm currently 26 now. And for me, the thing with traveling is that you get to experience things. And I think it's very important that you experience life, because I feel like you get the best lessons through experience. Because someone can tell you something, you can read something and you gain knowledge. But when you actually live it, it's a whole different level of growth because you're actually experiencing it. I think with traveling, you really get an essence of a country through its culture if you actually go in and experience it for yourself.
Why did you choose Colombia then?
So that was in 2016 going into 2017, so almost 3 years ago now. When I graduated from university, I decided to go Colombia. I'm half Colombian, half Portuguese, and I grew up very in touch with my Portuguese side. So I wanted to connect with my roots. That was literally my aim, to go Colombia and connect with my roots.
Amazing. So you stayed in Colombia for what?
Stayed in Colombia 9 to 10 months, and the rest of the year I went to Ecuador and Peru. But I stayed in Colombia about 10 months.
Okay, and was your intention to be for 10 months or?
No, definitely not. My intention was 1 month.
1 month.
1 month I was gonna do Colombia and 2 months South America, but evidently that didn't happen. I stayed. I just fell in love.
In Colombia?
So I was backpacking by myself. So I was staying in a lot of hostels.
Okay.
So I stayed in this one hostel probably about 10 minutes away from Parque Tayrona. So it's like the Santa Marta region. Tourists do this. So you can do volunteer work in a hostel or hotel, and they will give you free accommodation and free food. So if you're traveling, it's a really good way to save your money because essentially you're not spending your money at all. You don't have to pay for somewhere to sleep and you don't have to pay for food. So I thought, why not? It's a good way for me to save money. So then I started painting. I ended up in the bar and I stayed there 4 or 5 months.
In Colombia?
So basically, yep, 100%.
So when you went to Colombia, where did you first landed and what other parts of Colombia you visited?
So I landed in Bogota, which is the capital of Colombia. It's where main flights go to, and it's probably the cheapest to fly into Bogota. I mean, of course, you can go to Cali, Pereira, Medellin. So I started in Bogota. I stayed there probably like a week or two. And then I went down to Pasto, which is the south of Colombia. It's very, very south. Then from Pasto, I went to Putumayo, which is basically the Amazonic region of Colombia. I stayed with the Cofan community. It's an indigenous tribe. I stayed there for a couple of weeks, I think 3 to 4 weeks, almost a month I stayed there.
Okay.
And then from Putumayo, I went up to Pereira, which is where my family's from, which is the coffee region.
Okay.
And then I went to Salento for a while. From Salento, I went to Cali.
Where la salsa comes from, no?
Of course, they say, se quiere prender salsa, go to Cali. And honestly, la rumba, no one can top it off. Los caleños, they know how to have a good time. I will take my hats off to them 100%. And then Medellin, Medellin to Cartagena, Santa Marta, where I stayed for about 5 months. And in Santa Marta, I visited La Guajira, which is a beautiful place. I would definitely recommend people to go visit. And I went to Barranquilla, so I went for the carnival, which was where I felt I experienced Colombia for what it was. I've never scene, so much rumba in every corner of every road. Everyone's out. It was incredible. It was one of the carnival.
So would you say Barranquilla was your favorite place in Colombia, or what was your favorite place in Colombia?
Uy, Colombia is such a beautiful country. It's so biodiverse. You can literally have everything. I would say my favorite spot in Colombia would definitely be Santa Marta, but out of the city. So if you travel about an hour away towards Tayrona, it's just so beautiful because you can see La Sierra Nevada, which is, I think, the only mountain range with snow close to the sea. It's literally, you're in the sea and you can literally see mountains of snow. Like,
amazing.
It's incredible, and nowhere in the world will you see something so beautiful. So for me, that was like a little bit of paradise. That would be my favorite part of Colombia.
Amazing. And what, I mean, you obviously went to different parts of Colombia. So what was your favorite food then?
So when I went to Colombia, I was very strict vegetarian.
Okay.
So I did not indulge in the traditional dishes, let's say.
Okay.
But I think my favorite dish had to be sopa de marisco con cilantro y limón. If you go to Santa Marta, there's this guy. He is there to this day. So when I went 2 years ago, he was still there. And it's literally in a square. He sells his sopa de marisco con cilantro y limón. And it's just so good. And it's so cheap. Oh, that for me was one of my favorite dishes.
And what would you say was your average spend a day?
Coming from the UK and traveling in Colombia, you live like a queen. Or a king, honestly, because it's just 10,000 pesos, which is like, I don't know, £5-7, and that would be for my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But it depends how you want to travel, of course. If you want to travel a more luxurious way, then I suppose your budget would be a bit higher. But
okay. And did you see many tourists in there when you were there?
To my surprise, it was full of tourists. Mom, she did not want me to go to Colombia by myself. She was really worried. She was like, it's so dangerous, it's unsafe, please don't go by yourself. But going out there and living it for myself, I realized these are all stereotypes that no longer exist. I mean, everywhere you go in the world, there will be safe and dangerous places. I think it's just being aware of your surroundings and acting accordingly. So it's just being aware of where you are. But there were loads of tourists. You would see maybe 1 or 2 Colombian people in the hostel. The rest came from Germany, Russia, Switzerland, Asia. There was literally people from all walks of this world.
And what was their overall feeling? Did you get to speak to them? How did they feel? Did they had any bad experiences or?
So speaking to, obviously working in a hostel, you talk to people and you ask them, well, what has been your experience? Have you enjoyed it? And to be honest, everything was positive, which was great. It was really nice to hear positive things about Colombia because of the connotations it has gained over the years, and people loved it. People had mostly done South America and they were ending in Colombia, and they said that Colombia was their favorite. They said it was the people that made Colombia the best country in South America.
So did you ever feel unsafe at any point when you were in Colombia?
I didn't have any moments where I felt unsafe. I mean, it's like I was saying, you just really have to be aware of your surroundings. You know, when you're going into somewhere where you see less people and it's just, you will get that vibe like, maybe I shouldn't be here. It's like, for example, Las Comunas in Medellin, now they've become a touristic spot. Now people go there for the graffiti, for the artists. It goes to show that these stereotypes, they're slowly breaking. They no longer exist.
I mean, I guess it's like when you go to Thailand or when you choose India or when you go to Africa. I mean, there are obviously situations when you may feel unsafe. And what do you do, Carina? We haven't spoken about you. I mean, we went directly into the Colombian things. What do you do?
So my full-time job is I work with special needs children in a primary school. Apart from that, I sell Colombian artisanal jewelry. So when I was out in Colombia, I was inspired by the tribeswomen, the Kofan community. They make amazing, intricate beaded jewelry. So my plan was to come here and sell that so that I could send money back to them to help them, the women, have a space where they can go and do their craft with their children. So I've recently started a charity with one of my close friends, because
Okay.
she has family that live in Puerto Nariño, which is in Leticia, which is also a part of the Amazonic region of Colombia. And we have been able to provide PPE kits for the hospital of Puerto Nariño. We have been able to provide care packages for many families within these communities. I think there's 22 communities just within Puerto Nariño. That's not even the whole of the Amazon. That's just a sector of the Amazon. So that has been really, really great to see, you know, that we're able to help people back home, especially during these hard times. So that's what I do.
Okay, and if people see this video, how can they support your cause then?
So you could go on to, we have an Instagram page, it's called La Voz de la Amazona.
Okay.
And there is a GoFundMe link on there, and you can donate as little as much as you want. As I say, nothing is too little for someone who has nothing. So don't feel like you have to donate loads. Honestly, even the smallest amount will go a long way.
Well, thank you, Carina. And last but not least, tell us, you know, what would you tell future travelers that are on the process of picking a destination, or what will be the risk of visiting Colombia?
Honestly, the only risk of going to Colombia is falling in love and staying. I mean, I'm living proof. My plan was 1 month in Colombia. I stayed 10 months. And I mean, I met lots of people who have been living there 2-3 years and they're not even Colombian. I'm like, wow. I'm like, you live here now? They're like, yeah, I'm not going back. Like, I had a friend of mine, he managed to buy a piece of land with a waterfall. So he has his own cascada in his back garden, basically. I have friends who are still there. They go back every 2 years and they just stay for a whole year, maybe come back, go back. So the risk is staying. That's the only risk.
Okay.